You're gonna, okay, thanks. Good. We didn't record that before. We're gonna go ahead and hit record so that way we can share this with all of you once we are done. So one of the things that I did forget to do this morning, and I don't want to miss the opportunity to do it now, but we did do it towards the end, is just do some quick introductions because I know there are some people on the call who a lot of us we know each other, but then there are a few that you don't know who we are and we don't know who you are, and we just want to become familiar with everyone so that we become comfortable with this process. So, my name is Henry Schmidtges. I'm from Fiddlers, which is the Florida Diagnostic Learning Resources System, and I am one of the ACs, which is the Associate Centers here in the Northeast Jacksonville area, and we support teachers at the teacher level with professional learning and then also provide child find services. And that's just kind of a re- real broad brush overstroke stroke of that. So what we'll do is we'll just kind of go around the Zoom room and have you introduce yourselves. And Shelby had a great way of doing it. So I'm going to let her kind of say how we're going to do this and introduce herself.
Okay, hi everyone. You will hear Shenry throughout all the events, and that is Henry and Shelby together. So we are the Shenry. So I am the other half of the Shenry. My name's Shelby Robertson. I am the Problem Solving Response to Intervention, or PSRTI projects. I know I keep skipping because I can see you guys freezing. It's my internet hate spectrum. Learning and development facilitator for math and science. Um, in the PSRTI project, we do all things MTSS across the state and support schools and districts in their implementation of MTSS. I do have one other person on the call here from my project, so I'm going to go ahead and let him introduce himself, and then Carlos, if you will hand it off to a project or organization. We also have some DOE folks here, so if that's your route, you go right ahead, and then they'll pass it on to another project.
Okay, so I'm Carlos. I work with Shelby, PSRTI, Problem Solving Response for Intervention, again, MTSS throughout the state. And I am just going to hand it off to the person that is closest to me in this little Brady Bunch thing that we have. And that would be Andrea Wallace.
Andrea, hello.
Andrea. Hi.
I'm Andrea Wallace, and I work at the Florida Instructional Materials Center for the Visually Impaired, and we support all the teachers of students with visual impairments throughout the state and also provide all the Braille and large print textbooks to kiddos registered with us. And I'm going to pass it on over to my sister project. I'll start with Sherry Conrad.
Hey everyone. Yes, I was here this morning, but I also have the world's worst case of FOMO. I'm afraid I have the fear of missing out. So I felt like I needed to be here this afternoon. I am with the Resource Materials and Technology Center for the Deaf, Hard of Hearing. We are a specialized fiddler center. Like Andrea said, we're a sister to FIMC, but we're also like the little sister of fiddlers proper. So we're excited to be here. This is my second year working the BSIS events, and I'm really excited. I feel like we even learned from one event to the next last year, and so I'm really excited for what this year is going to bring. I'll toss it over to my colleague and friend Sarah Tinty.
Hey all, I'm Sarah. Also work for RMTC and everything else that Sherry just said. This will be my first about 6 months into working with RMTC. I have made lots of friends like Sally, so I'm gonna throw it over to Sally.
Good afternoon. I almost said good morning. It's been that kind of a day. Um, but good afternoon. My name is Sally Payne. I am the program administrator for the Fiddlers Administration Project, and our role is to support our wonderful associate centers across the state of Florida, as well as our two specialized centers. And we also kind of partner with our Fiddlers multidisciplinary centers as well. We have six across the state. And I'm going to toss it over to Patty, my coordinator.
Hey everyone, hope you're doing well this afternoon. Yes, my name is Patty Ketz, and I am the coordinator and support Sally as we support our local centers across the state. Very happy to be here. And I'm going to pass it off to another Patricia. I saw Patricia Butterford's on, so tag you're it, Patricia, if you're able to.
Hi everyone. Good afternoon. I've been on travel. I just got back from Gainesville actually. So I'm here. I'm not on camera because if I go on camera, the Wi-Fi stinks at my house as well, Shelby. So I will not be able to finish this call. But thank you all for being here today. I'm the Bureau Chief for the Bureau of Exceptional Education and Student Services, if you didn't know that already. Thank you for all of the support, and I do want to take the opportunity to thank Shinri, especially for coordination and setting this up between BSIS and Bs, because we all have our top priorities of work across the state, and you all do as well within your projects. So thank you for taking the extra part of your day and time to support this project.
How about
And
Courtney?
pass it off to Courtney.
Hi, everyone. I'm Courtney Starling. I am the director of the Office of Mathematics and Sciences. So I'm in the Bureau of Standards and Instructional Support. And so I'm kind of um, helping and leading the whole professional learning. So I'm super, super excited, like for the expansion of not only the event this year, but also of the expo, and also super thankful for Shenry and helping to coordinate. So this is going to be our fifth year that I've been involved with our professional learning event, and third year for the no, yeah, third year for the expo. So
Yep.
it has grown every year, and I'm just really, really excited for the expansion and for the summertime. Um, let's see. I am going to, I don't know if there's anyone else from the department on. So I'm going to pass it over to Jonte.
Nice seeing you again, Courtney.
You
Good
too.
afternoon. I am Jonta Hill. I'm an educator support specialist with SAS EBOS based in North Carolina. And so I work to support the Florida VAM. And so I'm going to pass that off to my colleague, Chris Maxwell.
Well, first of all, this is the happiest group of people, so thank you for that. My name is Chris Maxwell. I'm also an educator support specialist with SAS EBOS. And as Jonte mentioned, we help out in the field to train people on the Florida VAM visualization tool. So this will be our first time at the expo, and we're trying to figure out how to do this because we hear you all, you bring it. And so we're going to be ready to bring it too.
Well, you heard right, Chris. Just back that up.
Yep, we're ready. Uh, let's see, I'm going to turn this over to Kathy from FSU.
Hi, everybody. I made it out of my car and back into my office. So, Kathy Cinco, I'm the director of FSU Center for Autism here in Tallahassee. Excited to be here. The first time on these meetings, so good to see all some of these faces with names I'm familiar with. And I think I'll pass it off to my colleague, Dawn Merricks.
Everybody. I'm Dawn Merritt. I'm a consultant with FSU CARD here in Tallahassee. We cover the 18 counties of the Panhandle, but there are our sister sites are also on here. I see UF CARD and UCF CARD also on this call. So we provide support for our individuals with autism and related disabilities, their families, and professionals who work with them. We provide consultation and resources and educational support within a framework of kind of building capacity within the community. Would anybody else from CARD want to jump in? Danielle?
Hi, my name is Danielle Liso, and I work for the UF Card. There are two UF cards. I work for the one in Gainesville. There's also one in Jacksonville. There are 7 card centers, and our card center serves 14 counties in North Central Florida. And I'm happy to be here too, and I'm going to pass it along to Colleen, who is another card staff person.
Hi, I'm Colleen Grillo, and I work with the UCF Center for Autism. I'm happy to be here to collaborate with everybody and excited to hear what we're going to be doing this summer.
I think that's everyone, if I'm not mistaken. So that is great. It's always nice to know who is in the room and who's representing who. And I know, like I said before, a lot of familiar faces and then some new faces that need to meet us familiar faces because we'll be working closely together over the summer. So, a couple of things that Shelby and I wanted to kind of accomplish as we're going through is to get everyone comfortable with just an intro of the event, answer any questions along the way. So for those of you who were with Padlet, I couldn't think of the word. It's late in the afternoon. We had a Padlet that gave all the information that we had and that we wanted to make sure we shared. We've created, actually Shelby has created another Padlet for this year that we are going to share. We also want to kind of give you numbers in the amount of people that are registered and how many are coming during the different sessions of those 3 days that we're there. Also give you a schedule of events so you know when to kind of arrive, what to expect, and then also give you an insight of the north location since I was able to tour the north location and what that looks like in the north location. We will get more information on the south, what we're calling the south location, but is actually Central Florida. I just really can't call Polk County South Florida. I'm sorry, it's too central for me. South Florida is Miami-Dade. You know that's South Florida. So anyway, and that's Davenport High School. We'll get more information in a couple of weeks, and we'll share that out as Shelby goes and tours that site. So that's kind of what we want to do today. As questions come up, please ask questions. We will try. We either, if we have the answer, we'll let you know. If we don't have the answer, we will get the answer for you. That's kind of our role in making this as seamless as possible. Also, kind of letting you know how many numbers of people are coming to the event and what it's going to kind of look like and what it has looked like in the past. There are a couple of changes this year. We are adding more projects. For those of you who were with us last year, I believe we had 7. We're up to, is it 15,
15.
Shelby?
Yes.
15 different projects and agencies that are coming to the expo itself. So that's a big increase for us when it comes to logistics, but it's a great thing to see and to be able to be a part of to help our teachers within the state. So with that being said, I think Shelby's going to share numbers, right, Shelby? Is that where we were going to go first? So in the north location, these are kind of the numbers by session. So session 1 is the first day. Session 1 and 2 are on the first day. Session 3 and 4 are on the second day of the event. And session 5 is on the third day of the event. So you'll kind of see what currently our actual numbers are that will come through during those times. And we'll show you the times here in just a minute. But you can see the potential, which is if we are at capacity. Currently in the north location, we are at 46% capacity, so not even quite halfway full yet. We will keep the registration, and this is kind of an important thing to know. The registration will stay open until the day of the event. Is that right, Courtney? Did I say that correctly? Yep.
That's
Nope.
correct.
Okay. We'll stay open till the day of the event so people can continue to register because we want to get as many teachers, educators in as possible. So those numbers will fluctuate. Shelby and I have seen them fluctuate a little bit. Some people will confirm, some people will drop, that kind of thing. So the potential is what if we were at full capacity, kind of gives you an idea of what our expo would look like during those times. We do split it up to beginning, middle, and end throughout our sessions so that we're not getting potentially 162 people at one time, because that would bring us all, we would all be in tears at that point. We couldn't support that many teachers at one time and educators. So we do split them up to beginning, middle, and end. And it is a 3 hour time frame for the most part, except for the first session when we're looking at the sessions. And we'll give you those times here in just a minute. So that gives you an idea of what the North looks like. And then we will have this on the Padlet, and we will update this periodically on the Padlet, probably about once a week or so, just so that you guys who are bringing supplies or materials that you want to give out, that you have numbers so that you can get those copies made before, for those of us who are in IDA state funded projects, get those done before the end of the grant year so that it all works out just perfectly. So this is the South, and you can see kind of the same potential. And then our actual in the South currently, we're at 41% capacity. So there's a lot of growth that can still take place there. We can kind of see the same kind of layout and same amount of averaged people per session.
And just to clarify, the numbers that are in the parens here are the rooms that are designated for that track. So it's just, for example, there's 10 rooms potentially, um, totaling 300 people. So just to clarify a little bit, but
Yep.
that's what we're currently at.
So just real quick to give, and I was amiss that I didn't do this earlier with the first group, but one of the things that is important to know is how the entire event runs. So there will be a general session on day one, which is in the morning. Then there will be sessions after those. So there's going to be a session one and a session two on day one. And what's going to happen is all of our participants are going to break up by subject area and then within rooms. And there's average about 30 to 32 people per room with facilitators. And they'll be with that in that room and with that facilitator for the entire duration of the event. So that's where there's 4 rooms in civics. We have a potential of getting 4 rooms full. In special education in the ESE track, it's a little bit different. They are going to go to one room. We're trying to keep it to one room for K5, 6, 8, and 9, 12. So that is something that we had discussed. It would be 2 rooms potentially, but we are keeping it to one room. So it might be a few more people than 30, but we rather have a few more than split up and it not be as effective, so to speak. You're welcome, Andrea. We got a lot of that this morning as well. And it also because of staff and having enough staff members to be able to do this. So with that, this is what the Padlet looks like. I'm going to start with the schedule expo, the expo schedule, which is right there. So Monday is considered day zero. We call that day zero because that's when everybody in the expo has time to set up. Okay. From 8 to 3, we have time to get set up, and make sure that we're working effectively and getting all of our things ready for participants to arrive. From 3 to 5 on day zero, which is Monday, we have early check-in. So participants can check in and then can come visit the expo just to get that early introduction to what we're doing. Day one, where the expo opens at 7:30, runs from 7:30 to 8:30. At 8:30, we'll have our opening session, and everybody in the expo is invited to go to to that opening session so that we all hear the same message. And that's that kind of general overview of the event and what I like to call a state of a state address when it comes to education and what we're expecting the outcomes of this event to be. And then we go into session one. So we'll have the ESE, we'll go through those tracks in session one. Lunch, they'll at lunch if they have time. We'll also have to figure out how we're going to break each other so that everyone can have a lunch at some point. 1:30 to 4:30 is session two, and then 4:30 to 5, so that extra half hour is district planning time. But it's also if they're participants who are not part of a district or a district team that's going to meet, they can come to the expo and ask further questions if they have further questions, or just come through. So that's day one. Day two is very similar. There will be an opening session, and then it will run the same way. Day three, there's no opening session. There's just a closing session. And then we will be done at noon with the closing session and then can break down after that. So that's kind of the way the event runs, right? So that'll just kind of give you that insight. So just a little bit of insight of the location in Jacksonville. I was able to tour that location last week with a group to see what the rooms look like. And for those of you who are presenting as part of that ESE track, and I know there's a couple of you online here, there's a couple who are not, but for the benefit of those who are here, those rooms I went through and I was able to choose larger rooms. So we're not split up. So there are two very large rooms, and then there is a smaller large room, and they're within feet of each other. Two are side by side, and one is right in the breezeway right outside the double doors. So they're very close. So movement will be easy because facilitators are moving throughout the ESE tracks. So we made that happen. Now for the expo, this it, typically in the expo in the past, we've always done it in the media center because the media center is very large. However, the media center at Atlantic Coast High School in the north is on the second floor. So, yes, that was the reaction I had when I went up to the second floor and went, yeah, this is not going to work for us very well. It's also a very traditional media center, shelves like a true library, and only has two smaller areas that are open with tables. So what we decided to do because of space and because of the amount of people was move it into the cafeteria, which is a very nice cafeteria. It's a newer school, so it has all different types of seating and tables and all of that, and electrical and internet and all of those good things. And we're going to split by the side. So on one side will be the AT lab where the hands-on lab is, and then on the other side will be all the expos so that people can really walk through and not have to travel between two rooms, and it'll just make logistics a little bit easier for larger groups of people. So that was the best space. I looked at the band room, I looked at the chorus room, I looked at all of those rooms, but they really wouldn't have met our needs in the volume of people that we can potentially have at one time as they're switching from one time frame to another within a session. So beginning, middle, and end, right? So that kind of clues you in, and it'll also make it easier for us who are bringing in things to either show or supply or things that we're going to maybe handouts that we don't have to track it all the way upstairs in an elevator that works on good days at best. I'm just going to leave it at that. It's a school elevator, which is always, those are always fun. All right. Um, let's see. Did I go everything? Shelby,
You want me to do the panels?
please.
Okay, sure. So the panels, and this is a living, breathing Padlet. So it will continue to be updated as we get new numbers for registration, and as you folks and all of our folks are on the morning session too, add into this. So the top two left ones are about who is representing your project. I'm going to add agency in there. So please share with us, just add to this when we send this out later, who is going to be attending and representing the North and then the South. We have the addresses here for the schools that we're going to be at, the Atlantic Coast High School in the North and Davenport High School in the South, as well as the address for the Home to Suites, which is being suggested to us. It's a great option because they have a full kitchen. So if you want to bring your own food or you have leftovers at the end of the evening, it's great to have that full kitchen and a full refrigerator. We are going to add in there also, there's a code that Noelle, who is the events planner extraordinaire, has provided to us. So we'll add that in there too. If you want to stay at this hotel, we do have that like a booking code that gets us a cheaper rate, and do it as soon as possible if you have not already booked rooms, because participants will start booking and it will fill fast. Just going across, we added in here some things to remember as you're starting to pack things for the summer. Please, if you think of anything that's good for the group, please just go ahead and add it in there, because this is our collective Padlet, and it's great to be able to share things that you're thinking of as you're starting to pack. We do, as we have in the past, we're going to have something very close to the expo where, if we're in the cafeteria, well, that's really easy. We bring Keurigs, so we have coffee there. We always bring snacks. But please, if you, in the past, the other projects have brought snacks to share as well. So if you don't mind putting in anything that you're going to potentially bring, so we don't have like 10 boxes of granola bars, that'd be awesome.
And this is not for the participants, it's for the
So,
facilitators and the people at the expo. I wanted to make that clear.
yes, thank you. I didn't say that earlier. We also, at the end of the events, the two events, do a giveaway, like a little gift basket from the expo to the participants. They'll draw a number.
So what Shelby was saying is we do a
Thank you.
gift basket at the end of and or like a little giveaway. So if there's things that your project wants to make sure that teachers could potentially get at the end, you can bring those with you. Last year, I know Fiddlers did some books on teaching, so those types of things. So those kinds of teacher extension resources, I think, is the best way to say that, so we don't get into any trouble by saying giveaways um, or door
Ooh,
prizes. We're not
don't
allowed
be
to say
thinking
those
that
words,
later.
so I don't want to get in trouble with that. But extensions, learning extensions, so those types of things that you might want to put into a basket that can get then raffled off at the end.
Thanks. We'll change that later. So that's really helpful for us to know, because I'll go out and purchase a basket or a gift bag or something, and I need to know kind of what size to buy. So that's helpful if we know if you are donating something. This is something we'll continue to update, the current ESC registration, just so, and it will, we also have panels for the North and South altogether. So that document you saw earlier, that will continue to give us an idea of how many people we have coming through during a session, that will be here as well. Um, Henry is going to take a picture when he goes back and kind of create a schematic for the floor plan for the cafeteria in the north. Courtney and I asked Tara today, Courtney, to come with us to the south, to the not so south locale, so that we can also create a floor plan for that. Henry and I are going to put together kind of like a little welcome package. So it's going to be on the table when you get there, and you are going to be kind of assigned a table, so that just as if you went to Family Cafe and you are going to be in vendor booth number 201. So it will be similar to that, but there'll be floor plans there, which I'm just going to pop up to this one then. So here we already put what the Tech Expo has requested, and I put for PSRTI. So I know I keep skipping. I see you all keep freezing. Henry, translate when necessary, please. Please go in and for your project or agency, put how many tables you feel that you will need. So as we're creating those floor plans, we have a really solid idea for that. Down here, we have checkboards. So these are things that came up during our AM session. So things like make sure Wi-Fi, make sure we have mics, because we want that accessibility feature. And that's not only for the expo, that's for those of you that will be presenting during the ESC track. We're going to make sure there's a little tutorial for facilitators on accessibility of presentations. We're going to take, that's actually for the expo, the pics of tables for tablecloths, so that they make sure that the tablecloths they bring fit the tables. being that, especially for the north, we're going to be in the cafeteria, so making sure that the tables are good for our purposes for whichever project or agency is going to be in which section, because there are kind of differing tables. And then we are going to have interpreters there, so making sure there is knowledge of how that meetup is going to happen. Oh, I just switched things. How about that? Good for me. Um, this question's asked of registrants. We did have something come up this morning where one of the folks was asking about, do we know specifically if the folks that have registered for the ESC track, what they teach, if they teach VI, visually impaired, or what they teach. So that was not one of the questions, but that we'll figure out how we can get that information best from them as we start the sessions with them. What else am I missing? I think that's it. I
I
think that
think so, Shelby, because I was just looking through my notes as well.
Okay. So as we kind of start wrapping up this session today, as you all are asking questions, we'll make sure to incorporate those into the Padlet. Another panel that you'll see as soon as the recordings are finalized, the ones final from this morning, and as soon as this one's rendered from this afternoon, we'll have the recordings up here as well. So if you wanted to go back and listen to anything or share these out with someone that was not able to meet with us today, those will be available. What am I missing here, Henry, before I stop sharing and can see everyone's lovely face so we can talk?
I think you got everything
Oh,
when it,
I did not. This.
no? Oh, the event scheduler, yes.
Yes. So the event scheduler, again, Noelle, event extraordinaire. She has created this amazing tool for participants. It's called the scheduler, and they are able to go in and track their hours. So as they're coming to the sessions, coming to the expo, they can see their movement, and making sure that they are checked in and checked out of sessions is how they get their hours. This also for us, if you are presenting, allows us to scan them in and out of those sessions. And Henry is going to be our scanner in the expo. So he will actually have like a hand scanner that, like in the past, he has scanned folks in and out at the door so that we know who all has come to speak with us. And that way we can share that in our PTS so that we have those numbers to share out. Anything, Courtney or Henry, that I'm missing as far as these logistics go?
Yes, one more thing. Did you talk about, and I may have missed it, did you talk about people letting us know who's going to be at the expo for them and then to give also their email addresses? Because I know that
That's true.
one of the questions in the chat was, how do we get access to the Padlet? They missed it, which is fine. We're going to email that to you all. I know we tried to get as many emails as possible, and some of you probably were forwarded an email saying, "Hey, can you please attend on my behalf? But you're going to be a part of this event." If you know you weren't on that original email, if you don't mind putting it into the chat so that we can include you on all future emails. We don't want to be exclusive in any way. We want to make sure that we get everyone here that needs to be at this event on that email. Also, did you talk about us having those office hours, Shelby?
I did not.
Okay. So what we have done for the facilitators who are facilitating the event, we have provided office hours where they can ask questions about tiered instructional supports, which is what we've been working with this, Shelby and I have been working with the state to provide information on and support with. We're actually providing virtual office hours. We're going to extend that invite to all of you. You don't have to attend, but if you have a question that comes up or you want to find out what it's looking like at that point in time, you can just drop in, ask a question, we'll answer the question, and then you can uh, leave for the day kind of thing. So it's just truly asking questions. We want to make that available to you all because we want to keep you as up to date as possible for the event. And if you have questions, at any time, just make sure that you email myself and Shelby together, and we'll put our email addresses again into the chat. and we'll answer your questions. We'll either answer it collectively or one of us will get back to you as quickly as possible because we want to make this as beneficial and as easy for you all as possible.
Yeah, so just to reiterate these two panels, if you are going to be representing in the north, please add your contact information here or in the south here. When Henry was talking about those office hours, as soon as this video is rendered, you'll be getting an email this evening that has everything, including the links to the recordings, which will be on the Padlet as well. There's information about this Padlet, how to get to it, and then there's also a list of those office hours and my Zoom address, which is the one you're here with. So all of that information, you're going to get quite an extensive email tonight with all of this information. We just want to make sure you have all the logistics. So I'm going to stop sharing. All right. What questions do you all have?
Yep. All right, Andrea.
Hello, Andrea here. Last year I don't know if it was last minute decision, but you had a panel of discretionary projects on the stage and we talked about our projects briefly. Do you plan on doing that again?
I think that is yet to be determined, but I'm thinking no, I don't know. I can't answer that. I'm gonna let Courtney answer that because she's right there.
Yeah, I do have an answer for that. So this year we won't have the opportunity to have the panel like we did last year. However, we have not developed our opening session yet. And so perhaps during the opening session, we may have the opportunity to just kind of give an overview of all of the representation that we have within the expo. So we may be reaching out to see if there's like, a few sentences that we can share from each of your, projects or organizations that we can at least have for the opening session, but then also, so I put a link to the kind of our web page that houses everything for the summer events, registration, agenda, things like that. We normally have a tab up there specifically for the expo. So we may also be reaching out just to see, what we can have up there as well so that participants can have access to that too. So we won't have that specific one, but we still may be sharing, who you are in the opening session.
Cool, thank you.
Courtney, something that I did share this morning is in the past, we've always had the live binder. And there's an expo tab that will be broken down by our projects and agencies. And then if it's okay with you, we'll do it how we did in the past, where everyone sends whatever PDFs they want to share out to the participants to me, and then I'll compile those and organize them and send them to you. Is that okay?
Yes,
okay.
that is fun.
That is in the email. Many things in the email that you guys are going to see this afternoon is just that little blurb about any materials that you want to share, because that is the only tab that people have access to the materials while they're there. Everything else, as far as their sessions go, don't become public until after the end of the second event.
I have a question. So we have representatives from CARD as well as representatives from Florida PBIS who are presenting together, but I'm not clear on when our session or sessions take place over the course of those 3 days.
So that is an awesome question, and thank you for asking that, Danielle. So that is still being determined, the final of what that's going to look like. I know that's going to come out here real soon. I know Patricia's going to share that probably with the group. I don't know if she's going to share it right now because it's not potentially final, but we'll make sure that that information does get out to those people who are presenting, because this is kind of separate from those people who are presenting, and we didn't want to. They go hand in hand, but then they don't, kind of thing. So it was like we didn't want to kind of confuse the apple cart too much. So that was kind of our plan in how to move forward. So that information is coming. I think that will come from the department.
Okay,
Does,
thanks. Yeah, we're
so
just trying to
that,
just figure out like out of those of us who plan to attend at any
right,
point during the four days, essentially, include if you include Monday,
right,
how we can make sure we have enough representation at the table as well as at the
right,
session across the days. So
right.
I understand
And
that's still being worked out.
yep. And one of the things, just so that you kind of get a sense, it's truly like if you've ever been to Family Cafe or any kind of an expo kind of situation, people bring their tablecloths from if they have them, or those, extensions that have all the signage on it, and then just their materials and things that they want to potentially give to participants as they walk by, information, contact information, that type of thing. If you specifically want to have people who come to your table sign in to be a part of an email group or something like that, you are more than welcome to do that. I know I'm going to get a list of people once we do this check in and check or the check in. We'll get those people and get you the list of people who've attended in the numbers so that you have that for those of us who are projects. You'll have that for your PTS or GSW or whatever you want to call it, our tracking system. You'll have those numbers so that you can put that in and capture that. So all of that will happen. Hopefully
Thank
that
you.
you're welcome. We're trying to make this as seamless as possible and not as stressful as possible.
I'm
So
sure it is
we,
seamless. I've never been before to
no, no,
this
no.
event, so
Yeah,
I'm picturing something in my mind that may or may not be anything
right.
like what it actually
Understood.
is. So
Understood. And that's where we're trying to give you guys as much information as possible for those of you who are new, so that you're not caught off guard in any way, since you are new and some of us have seen it multiple times. So we're just trying to make everybody at ease. So if you have questions along the way, please don't hesitate to reach out. And Shelby and I will even get on a quick Zoom, like, if that some with you as well. So we're here. We're going to try to support everyone as best as we can.
I appreciate it.
Patricia, you have your hand up.
Yes. So Shelby's going to share her screen. So we can kind of go over this schedule really quick. I don't want, like Henry said, thank you, Henry, for that kind of brief overview. I don't want to take all the time today going over this because, like he said, I don't want to confuse the participants on this call with this, within the expo. We will have some more meetings coming soon to discuss the new update to the schedule, but also updates to any of the presentations or materials that may have feedback and edits from leadership. So we want to make sure that we're in alignment with the other tracks as well. Because of that district implementation aspect, we were meeting with PJ earlier. She's the bureau chief for BSIS, and so earlier in the week in our leadership, we want to make sure that, this is new for us as well as far as the ESE track, not so much the ESE Expo, because we've had the Expo for 3 years now. This will be our third. And now we have the ESE track, and you all do a wonderful job in the districts already with this professional learning in your different content areas. But we want to kind of make it more uniform so it's in alignment with the other content tracks. And so with that thinking, right now we're thinking about doing a whole group track, or putting all the tracks together into a whole group for session one, and doing just like what Henry was mentioning earlier, doing a state of the state. For me, I will now be there. At first, I wasn't going to be there the 2 weeks, but now I'm routing travel to be there the 2 weeks. So, having a state of the state introduction from the bureau chief, but also having some data, just our that we have of our population, our total counts, and then our disaggregated data by our exceptionalities. And then instead of cutting out the entire behavior classroom management session, we were thinking that that could be a follow-up to the state of the state. So, it's maybe 15 minutes for me for the state of the state with data, and then the rest of that be the session that CARD and PBIS had collaborated on together, but in a whole group style versus breaking up in different rooms. So that's the part that Henry, you're right. We're still in the planning phase of what it will look like for the session because that will also be the time that the ESE track goes to the expo as well, the participants. So we'll have to cram a lot into that allotted time. We'll have to put the state of the state, which would only take me a few minutes, and then the behavior session, and then the expo. So basically, this is what we're thinking now, as far as the schedule that we have on the screen. So we've tried to color code it to kind of show everyone the different tracks and the different um, session titles and projects that are helping to support those session titles. So thank you again. I think that'll also help with some of that explanation as far as how many people to bring to manage and facilitate the tables in the expo, but also how many to bring to manage to Phyllis. Oh my gosh, I can't even talk. Phyllis said, I can't even say,
Facilitate.
be in the room. Thank you, Henry. And so the other thing would be the teaching part of that. I mean, I'm a teacher at heart. You all know that for the most part about me. So the teaching aspect, because I'm just thinking like our participants are like our students. So the ISS team will also be there. We've all routed our travel. It's already approved on paper. So now we're putting it in the system and getting our hotels and our rental cars and all the things. So I don't know if Courtney knew that, but Courtney, yay, Bees is happy we're approved to go officially as of today. So even mine. So basically our whole entire instructional support services team will be there. Some of us are taking turns because some of us have other like conferences to attend, like assessment and things like that. But for the most part, the entire team will be there both weeks, if not definitely one of the weeks. So we'll be there to support as well. If you don't have enough people attending or for whatever reason, an emergency happens or you get sick, it all happens to everyone. We want to be that extra support to make this a successful track for everyone. And so it is very important to us. And thank you for all of your work and dedication. We will have some planning meetings in the next few weeks so that we can get those edits completed and get you the feedback that you need to be able to get those edits completed and back routing to be approved. Because we have to get our stuff, everything approved, even if it's slides that we have approved from previous trainings or professional learning opportunities. We have to route everything as if it's brand new. So I just want everyone to kind of keep that in the back of their mind. It's not about if you've done it right or wrong. It's just about keeping it in alignment with the other subject areas. Any questions about that for now? I'm sure you have a lot, and there will
Wait,
be more
I
information
have
to follow.
I have a question. So, I didn't see the track for the PBIS and the card that we're presenting. And what I'm hearing is it may be structured different, like we're not going to do during those time tracks.
Yeah, I heard it as we may, the PBIS and card behavior session will take place one time after the state of the state address to the whole group.
Correct.
And then
During session one,
during session one,
which is
which is
on
on day
Tuesday.
2, which is Tuesday.
which
And
is day one, right? Tuesday
oh, right,
morning.
sorry, right. Day one,
Yeah.
day zero, day one is Tuesday. And after that,
Yep.
so we present the one time, and then after that, our responsibility is to just do tabling the rest of the time. Is
Yes,
that
ma'am.
true?
At
Okay.
this point in time, yes. I
Okay.
mean, again, we're at very beginning stages because we want to make sure it's meaningful as well. And we thought with that one, because behavior is a need for sure, we thought that might be as a whole group so that they
Sure.
weren't missing any content that would be needed. So
Yeah, I
Oh,
think the
I
thing that it
love that idea.
influences for the most is just like the personnel that we would need throughout the week. Because we've been trying to, at first we thought we were going to be doing double sessions. And so it's like two card staff, two PBIS staff, and somebody, at least one somebody at the table. But it sounds like it might be quite a bit different than that. If I'm understanding right, correct me if
Yeah,
I'm wrong.
so potentially if we needed a second person, the only day we may potentially need a second person would be Tuesday.
correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's
Now,
very different.
I will tell you from experience, and I just want to put this out to the group because I have something Colleen just said. At the tables, you might think one person is enough. I'm going to caution you, one person is not enough because these teachers don't know we exist. I'm just going to be straight. I'm going to be as honest as I can be. These teachers, and Sherry was there, and Sally was there, and they're nodding their heads. A lot of these Gen Ed teachers don't know we exist and that we're there to help support them as well as they're working with students who have special needs, who are in their classrooms, who are included in their classrooms, all of that kind of thing. And these resources are out there. So there's a lot of talking, and them going, oh my gosh, we've had people break down and cry and so say, I didn't even know that you existed. I'm so happy. I'm going to reach out. And it is a lot for one person to manage that, just letting you know. And then there are some participants who will come back 3 to 4 times and ask you more questions because they're that sponge that wants to know this stuff. So that's really it's a great way to for our projects as a project person, it's a great way to show this is how I'm getting out and meeting my all of the constituents that I support because we're meeting them all at one time in one place and you just meet so many people at that event. So Patricia, you have your hand up.
Yes, I just wanted to piggyback off of what you were saying, Henry. So today I met with brand new superintendents. That was my presentation. And part of my presentation was about the projects. Like I just try to give like a highlight of, hey, we have these projects and this is what some of them do. Um, Obviously I don't have 80 slides because that would be, a lot. But I do have like the top ones that are represented today on those slides. And so I will say with all of that being said, he is exactly right. At the end, they were like questioning me, like how they can support and how they could utilize, which I think is great. But I think often a lot of what we do, we work so closely with our districts, but not as much with our school level people. And these are school level teachers. So not let alone they're not even all ESC teachers. Some of them are, for the majority, as you can see, because ESC is a new track, the majority of them are gen ed teachers. So they have no idea and the reality is that most of our students are now in their classrooms. And so they are serving those students through some form of instruction. And so I think it's very, imperative, like you said, you may want to consider having more than one person. However, ISS will be there to help you too. So keep that in mind. That's why we're
Yep.
coming.
And one of the things I always like to say is we think that that information gets trickled down to the teacher level, but so many of the times it does not necessarily make it to the teacher level what we're saying to our districts in the way that we can potentially support our teachers. So this is where we truly get into at that teacher level support, which is nice to see as well. Shelby.
I just wanted to share this one more time. Now that we're really talking about the sessions, is that this is a rolling schedule. So, for example, in session two, we split them into beginning, middle, and end. So four classrooms or four groups are going to be coming at one time, two and then four. So this is like 162 people currently. If this was the final number, 162 people are going to be coming through in that 3 hour session in a rolling fashion. So there's not like time to take a drink hardly because you're talking all the time. So having a second person there at least to be able to bounce off of each other and talk to multiple people, it's fast and furious. And these will be on the Padlet later too.
Any other questions? I know we're getting close to the end of our time. We've got like a minute left, but we will stay on. For those of you who want to stay on and ask more questions, we'll definitely stay on. But I do want to value people's time. But I think, Colleen, you had your hand up. You had a quick question, so please
I just
ask.
wanted to verify day one or day zero, I guess it
Uh-huh.
is. So the
Yeah.
expo doesn't open till 3. What is the expectation and happening before 3 o'clock?
So before 3, so from 8 o'clock in the morning until that 3 o'clock time frame, you are there to set up. That's the expectation, like to set up your booth, whatever. I believe 1 o'clock, is that true, Courtney? Is that when the facilitators come together?
Yes. So at 1 o'clock is when all the facilitators get there, and we will have. So if you're part of the expo and also facilitating, at 1 o'clock we're going to be having, and those of you who are part of the expo and you're not facilitating, you are more than welcome to come to the facilitator meeting as well. But we do have a specific meeting for facilitators to come at 1 o'clock, and that's for us to kind of get together as all the facilitators for the week and just prepare them, as they're before they go and set up their you who are facilitating, you'll have the expo to set up, but then also however the classrooms that you have for the week. And I know that you're going to be swapping in and out. However, that's going to be set up as well. So we have the facilitator meeting at 1. It shouldn't last more than an hour. And then you would have an hour in between when, we have kind of registration open up, and that expo open up from 3 to 5. And we've had, from the past couple of years, a good amount of people that have come on that day zero, just, to for them to come and get their badge and everything. So yeah, the 1 o'clock meeting is for facilitators, but if you're part of the expo, and just want to hear what the facilitators are going to hear, you're more than welcome to join us.
So, Colleen, just to even clarify a little, even add more to that piece and that clarification, you can come anytime starting from 8 o'clock until
Yeah.
that time. I think that's like that was kind
Yeah,
of
like
like you don't
Oh,
have to be there exactly at eight
okay, that's what
o'clock
I
in
was
the
no.
kind of getting
However
morning
at.
long it's
Like,
going
on
to take for
Monday.
you to set up
Yeah,
your
right.
your booth, before
okay.
3
Yeah.
p.m. So
So if
you
you're
know how much stuff
traveling
you have.
in on Monday, like you're traveling up on Monday or going to the event on a Monday morning, you don't have to, get up that early that you have to be here by 8 o'clock in Jacksonville. Like I think that's kind of what your question was too, right?
I'm going south to
Oh,
Davenport, so
okay, south.
it's not very south. It's south of Orlando. That's about it.
Are you coming up to the Jacksonville event?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. So I was going to say, if you guys run out of hotel, if you have any questions about hotels because the hotel block is full, I live in the Jacksonville area. I don't mind kind of pointing you into the right direction. If you have a hotel and you want to go, I want to make sure this is in a good neighborhood, I can let you know that. Or if it's close to the school, I can definitely let you know that. My backyard is also open for tents. If you want to camp out, there's a nice pool. You can camp out in the backyard. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Can I come camp out, Henry? That sounds amazing.
Careful what you put out there.
I know. I know, because I might actually get people that want to do it. Anyway, but yeah, I
Oh yeah,
think that's pretty
Danielle
much it.
or Dawn asked, was there a code for there's not a code for Jacksonville, but there is a code for Davenport?
Shelby, do you know?
No, it's a code for both, and that
Oh,
will
for
be in
both.
the email.
Okay.
All right. That's all we've got. I know you'll have questions along the way. Again, please reach out. We'll stay on just a little bit longer. We don't want to keep anybody longer than we need to keep them. But thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I know our SAS and EVOS team might have a lot more questions since they're coming from out of state, it sounds like. So you might have more questions. We can definitely stay on or schedule another time to talk even further. So, all right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you guys. Have a good rest of
Thank
your
you so
week.
much.
Bye.
Bye.